a lot of questions to be done for the Rams and Bengals and how they can potentially make it back to the Super Bowl. Most questions are on the Rams because Andrew Whitworth will most likely retire. There's rumor that Aaron Donald will retire. There's rumor that Von Miller will retire. There's also rumor that Sean McVay might retire. So there's a lot of moving pieces. Odell will most likely not be back. A lot of free agents as well, which I'll pull up while we talk about this. So the Rams, this could very well be a one and done sort of Super Bowl.
Yeah, especially if Andrew Whitworth isn't there. Sean McVay was asked about his future and he said, "We'll see." That's really interesting to me if he doesn't have a definitive answer. And then I feel like Odell Beckham Jr. is going to want to go somewhere and be the star. And personally, I think um, Odell Beckham Jr. should stay in LA, play for a really good team in LA, play for a future Hall of Fame quarterback, one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL. I think he should go and play for Justin Herbert and the Chargers. And I think if you're Odell, you still want to be in LA, you still want to be the star, you can go over, make the Chargers relevant. And then if you have Mike Will, Keenan Allen, and Odell Beckham Jr., Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be the guy. Justin Herbert's going to be able to get him the ball and then the Chargers get another running back. I mean, it's a perfect fit for me. Justin Herbert's definitely a better quarterback than Matthew Stafford. So he had that battle against the Raiders in the last game. Unfortunately, they lost. Some to say due to coaching, but we'll see. I think Odell Beckham Jr. on the Chargers, that's a great fit right there. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think the Rams really they get lucky going into it. And there's a lot of luck involved. So I'm not taking anything away from them winning the Super Bowl, but it's definitely a tall task to get back. What we know is DeAndre Hopkins is gonna be back next year for the Cardinals. What we know is when they played the Bucks, they had 2 offensive linemen out. Tom Brady's not gonna be there, but there's gonna be a lot of shifts, but I will say there's not very many good quarterbacks in the NFC. So, one thing the Rams have going for them over the Bengals is Joe Burrow's gonna have to go through Justin Herbert, he's gonna have to go through Josh Allen, and he's gonna have to go through Patrick Mahomes. So that's a much taller task than maybe going through you don't know. If is Aaron Rodgers gonna be on the Packers? That's a
You
question
forgot
mark.
about Mac Jones.
Oh, yeah, Mac Jones. Sorry, no disrespect there, but
Yeah, you're right though. So NFC, it's basically like NFC East has Dak Prescott.
which I'd pick the Rams to beat the Cowboys because 'cause they're
Yep.
perpetual chokers.
Yep. NFC South, there's nobody. There's literally nobody on the NFC South. NFC North, maybe Aaron Rodgers. After that, everyone else is in rebuild mode. Um, then what do you have? NFC West, Seahawks are kind of a mess. Russell Wilson might move. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be gone. We don't know how good Trey Lance is. You have the Cardinals, who we'll allude to in a minute, about Kyler and his controversy with them. So, I mean, you look at the NFC and like the best quarterback in the NFC, it's like
It's probably Matthew Stafford at this point.
Stafford, maybe Kyler. That's it.
Stafford, Kyler, Russell Wilson,
Dak.
and then it's like you're looking at the Kirk Cousins of the world, and we don't know where Aaron Rodgers is gonna be. I hope he doesn't go to Tampa Bay, but we'll see. And then, yeah, you have the Niners, Trey Lance, it's gonna be his first year starting. He just looks I don't know.
Average.
Yeah, he looks pretty average so far. So he looks maybe on the same level as Justin Fields. Yeah, Justin Fields, that's the other scary quarterback you have to go through. Bears Nation, what's happening? And then, yeah, really, the NFC, it's pretty weak. So if the Rams did want to keep it all together, I think they'd have a great shot to make it back to the Super Bowl. But if you make it back, you're going to have the Chiefs, who I feel like if the Chiefs made the Super Bowl, they would have absolutely smoked the Rams. I
Yeah.
mean, Patrick Mahomes, much better offensive line than the Bengals have. Or if the Bills made the Super Bowl, I feel like Josh Allen would have smoked this Rams team as well. So
And their defense would have contained them.
yeah, so definitely it'd be a tougher matchup in the Super Bowl, but I feel like the AFC Championship for the next few years is going to be the equivalent to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Bills and Chiefs game ultimately, also one of the best NFL playoff games ever. But also, if Patrick Mahomes doesn't play the worst half of his entire career, he's in the Super Bowl this year, and he wins this game
Yeah, all he
easily.
needed to do was get a touchdown. Can you do that? Oh, you can't? You have um, overtime to do it, and you throw a pick, and then you could only muster up 3 points in 30 minutes in the second half. And then the one time you did score, it was on the final drive of the game. So it's just like that can't happen. So there's some questions of how is Patrick Mahomes' consistency going to be, but he rose to the occasion against the Bills. But the Bills also gave up a field goal in 13 seconds. I
Yeah,
mean, that
very
was
true.
pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never gonna doubt Patrick Mahomes' clutchness because he's definitely proven himself there. But you can't have a QBR of 12 in the second half in the AFC Championship
Yeah.
game and not have your doubts about him
Yeah.
there.
Then we also have a lot of people I saw in the media are like, "Oh, the Bengals, yeah, they're not gonna make it back to the playoffs next year," which that was a huge head scratcher to me. So the Bengals, they're still gonna be able to draft an offensive lineman. All they have to do is revamp their offensive line, maybe add a player on defense, and then if you add Gronkowski, that's basically an extra offensive lineman. So the Bengals had probably the worst team they're gonna have for the next 10 years, and they still made it to the Super Bowl, so that's an indication for me that Joe Burrow, some a player to his caliber and swagger and his intensity, who can elevate a team the way he does, him losing a Super Bowl is only gonna make him better, but if you don't put an offensive line around him, you're gonna have an Andrew Luck situation on your hands.
Yeah, because that knee did not look pretty in the Super Bowl. He almost
No.
got hurt again.
No, he sprained it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's confirmed. He has a sprained MCL right now.
yeah, you don't want that, especially what happened last year.
No, it was on his other knee that it was on a different knee than he injured. So if you have both 2 bad knees, that is not a recipe for success, especially for a player who's as reckless as Burrow plays.
And then for the Bengals, their players who could be moving, we got Larry Ogunjobi. They're gonna have to re-sign him. CJ Uzama. Honestly, if I had the choice between Gronk and CJ Uzama, I'm taking Gronk. Sorry. Just because he's got the veteran presence. And
And, he's the best tight end of all time.
yeah, we got Verdant Hergraves, corner for them. He's a free agent. Um, they got to figure out whether they're going to keep quarterback Brandon Allen.
Yeah, Brandon Allen, that's tough.
Um, Ricardo Allen, defensive back. He's a free agent. Jesse Bates. They should definitely resign Jesse
He's
Bates.
a long-time Bengal though, so they should have an easy time re-signing him. I mean, if I'm the Bengals, you know who I'm going after? There's some famous players, and you lose to a team in the playoffs and then you switch and go to that team. They should sign Honey Badger.
Oh,
So if you have Honey Badger, great run stopping safety, along with Jesse Bates, who's a great ball hawking safety, you would have an elite safety position. And then you go after a really good cornerback, which Marcus Williams for the Saints is also available. So if you can go after him or Honey Badger, sign another great linebacker and maybe one more defensive tackle to help stop the run, which the Bengals were all over the run, but offensive line, get another safety, one more linebacker. This team's going to be right back in the Super Bowl.